If we would only know, and if we would only believe that God made us beautiful the way He did, we would look at life differently. He made each individual, like was said, was read there in the first piece. He took special care to make each one of you, each one of us. And He made you just the way He wanted you. He made you look just the way He wanted you to look. He gave you the color of hair that He wanted you to have. He gave you life so He could have somebody like you to love. Why would He make everybody look alike? Imagine if all of us would look exactly the same, identical. Would that show the character of God very much? Just a bunch of clones out there. No. He made each individual according to what He chose. He didn't make one person on this earth ugly. He made us all beautiful in His eyes. But because we choose to listen to what people tell us, what Satan is telling us, we tend to think that God made junk. That He made something that's not beautiful. That He made us ugly for some reason because He didn't care about us, or we just came about and whatever. It's not. No. He made us just the way He wanted us. He made us beautiful, each in his own personality, each in his own features. Everybody's got their own disposition. Everybody's got, He made everybody different. Why would we look at another and say, that one's more beautiful than that one? How hurtful is that? What are we saying when we say that? Do we ever think about the words that we say that stab other people in the heart, that we never think about? I believe that when we believe Satan's lies, that God did not make us beautiful, it's equivalent to taking and slapping God in the face and say, why didn't you make me like this? God wants us to see ourselves the way He sees us. I heard a thing Monday night. A guy gave his testimony up here at Post. And he laid out the difference between self-worth and true worth. There's a big difference. Big difference. Self-worth is what we think, what people have told us, and the lies we've believed, who we think we are because we have not kept our eyes on Jesus and believed who He said we are. Let me, I know I ran this clip last night, but I think it's so fitting to just show a little piece of it again, to remind us of what I'm trying to say here is outlined in that little clip. And I think it's very hurtful to God when we choose to believe the lies of Satan about ourselves. And there's so much that ends up happening from there if we believe those lies. So much that happens that God does not desire to happen, because God cares about everyone. And He made, like I said, everyone individual. He knows what He wanted when He made you. He knows why He made you the way He made you. That's why He made you that way. If He would have wanted you to be something different, He would have made you something different. But the things that we choose to believe Satan throwing at us, If we keep believing that long enough, after a while, we become someone other than who God wanted us to be.
Ephesians 2:10 says that we are God's workmanship, that we're, in essence, His masterpiece. I don't know about you, but when I get up in the morning and look in the mirror, I don't see a masterpiece, you know? I mean, maybe a Picasso, you know? But I want to be a masterpiece. I want to be everything that God has created me to be. And so I go to Him in prayer and I say, God, do whatever it takes to get things out of my life that don't need to be there. Mold me into the image of your Son so that I can be your masterpiece.
Hi.
Whoa. Who are you?
I'm God.
No, you're not.
Yeah, you just said the prayer, so here I am. That's how it works.
Oh, okay. If you're God, then make it snow in here.
You know what, if I made it snow in here, it'd get kind of yucky, and I really don't want to do that.
See, you're not God.
Why do you say that?
God wouldn't say yucky.
Yes, I do. It's a Greek word.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If you're God, what does Lamentations 15:9 say?
Lamentations is a very short book. It only has 5 chapters.
Why is it so short?
I was tired of lamenting.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you're God, who's going to win the World Series this year?
You know what? I'm not so much into playing games. Why are you so much into playing games?
You are God.
What gave it away?
You answered my question with a question.
I did? Yep, I do that, don't I? I did it again. Step right up. Here we go.
Okay.
All right.
Hey,
Yeah.
what's this about?
These are the tools I'm going to use to make you into my original masterpiece.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Hang on.
Yeah.
I thought you were a carpenter.
That's my son. Here we go. Step right up. Here we go. All right?
Whoa.
Yeah.
How do you know what to chisel and what to leave?
I take out all the things in your life that aren't of me, kind of like dead weight.
Ooh, speaking of that, could you chisel right in here? I just can't get rid of it. I mean, the other went away, but this, I've tried exercising, I've watched what I ate, I even did Pilates for a while. That was awkward. But if you could chisel,
All right,
right?
You gonna talk or can I chisel? Talk, chisel, talk, chisel.
No,
talk,
chisel.
All right, most of my children just like to talk.
Not me. Bring on the chisel.
Here we go. All right. You have a lot of anger,
Ow.
some pride.
Ow.
Compare yourself to others instead of me.
Ow.
You're lazy, but you pretend like you're really, really busy. You have a problem with lust.
Okay. Time out. I do not have a problem with lust.
You don't have a problem with lust.
No, I can do it anytime I want. Okay. Wait. Maybe we could take a little time out. I mean, I think I'm doing pretty good.
You are doing good, but when you look in the mirror, who do you see?
I see me.
Okay, then I need to keep chiseling away because ultimately you and others need to see my son. Here we go.
Okay, hold on. Don't take this the wrong way. It's just that when I start looking more like your son, people get uncomfortable around me, you know? I mean, even my friends at church, they're all like, oh, you're holier than thou. Why won't you do that, you know? I mean,
So what you're doing right now is you rather play God in certain areas of your life than for me to be God over your whole life.
I did not say that.
That's what you meant.
Yes, it is. It's hard to talk to you. I mean, you know everything I'm thinking. I'm just saying, you've done good work. Maybe we take a little break, a little time out. We'll come back to it.
What you're doing right now is so common. What you're doing right now is called control. Do you want to control things in your life, or can I chisel? Control, control.
No, chisel.
Here we go.
No, can we chisel where I want though?
That's called control.
Okay.
You've been holding on to this for a long time. You ready for this?
It hurts.
This hurts me more than it hurts you.
Ow! I don't think you understand this pain.
Don't talk to me about pain. I know all about pain. I sent my son to die on the cross for pain, for sin, but I also did it for another reason, to give you freedom. Do you know what insanity is? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. And there are the things in your life, if you even think back to high school, that you've been doing that do not work in your life, but you go to these empty wells whenever you're hurting, whenever you're angry, whenever you're lonely and tired, but they do not work.
No, okay. I'm thinking maybe
Your
we
thoughts
could...
are not my thoughts.
Oh, okay, but if we went another way,
Your
we
ways
could...
are not my ways.
Okay, well look, I can't be good.
You can't be good. I've made you good. Be good. What?
Nothing.
What is it?
You wouldn't understand.
I, God of all the universe, wouldn't understand something one of my children has to say. try me.
It's just, God, I've let you down so many times.
No, you were never holding me up. I hold you up with my victorious, righteous right hand, and don't you forget that. In this relationship, I hold you up.
Okay. Chisel away.
All right.
But just be prepared for what you're going to find in there. Because I know who's inside there. Because God, I get up every morning and I look at him in the mirror. And it is this scared little kid who gets up every day and tries to dress like an adult and act like an adult, but I can't. So just be prepared for what you're going to find in there.
You have listened to so many voices for far too long that are not of me. You think you're junk, don't you? You really, really, really think you're junk. Listen to me. I don't make junk. What does that say about me? How can I show you that my love for you has no boundaries? I know. Reach in your back pocket.
What?
Reach in your back pocket.
Why?
Are you arguing with me? Reach in your back pocket.
God.
Yes?
I was just saying, God, I'll do that right now.
You were just saying my name in vain.
You know what? It's a name, it's a saying.
It's more than a name, it's more than a saying, it's more than a bad habit. It's a name above all names. I want to teach you something about my name. Reach in your back pocket. You know what that is?
This is a page from a journal I had when I was younger. How'd you get this?
Hello?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, read it.
I love Angie Holland.
Other side.
Sorry. I married her.
I was there.
Oh, yeah. Dear God, today I am turning everything over to you. I'm not going to hold on to anything anymore. Your word says that you will make me your masterpiece and use me to do great things. I don't see how it's possible, but I want that with all that I am. So please do whatever it takes to make me what you want. I love you, God.
I love you too, Tommy. And I love you too much just to leave you where you're at. So this salvation that you hold, don't let it be some sentimental gush or some head knowledge. I want you to work it out in every detail of your life. And don't compare yourself to someone else, because that is just trivial nonsense. You are my original masterpiece. You are one of my workmanship, and you I find favor. Don't look at this as a prison, but look at this as a father disciplines his child. A father disciplines the ones he loves.
I know, but it's going to be tough.
Yes, it'll be tough. But you bought into the lie thinking everything was going to be easy when you said yes to me. It's not how it works. I want you to do something. I want you to look up there and I want you to say, Tommy is God's original masterpiece.
Tommy.
No. The way you see yourself, or you yearn so much for others to see you. But the way I see you.
Tommy is God's original masterpiece.
Yes, you are.
So are you. God doesn't make junk. You are an original masterpiece.
Do we believe that? Original. Did you catch that? Original. He didn't copy you off of somebody else. He didn't try to make you look like someone else. He didn't try to make you someone else, because he wanted you to be just like he made you. And he's wanting to work those things out, the lies that we've believed, that people have told us of who we are. the lies that we've been told about what we look like. He's wanting to take all that and put it on the side. Like he said, he wants us to see ourselves the way he sees ourselves. Our true worth. See, if we compare ourselves with others, we come up with those kind of things, believing that we're not beautiful or we're not as good as the other one. See, what did I just say? Not as good as who? The other one. We compare ourselves to others. That's the problem. Second Corinthians chapter 10, verse 12. Paul says, we do not dare to classify or compare ourselves with some who commend themselves. When they measure themselves by themselves and compare themselves with themselves, they are not wise. See, if we compare ourselves with others, compare our performance to what others do instead of what God told us to do and who God said we were, we end up with all those things that we think we're inferior somehow. We're not as good as others. Just look at what he's doing. My goodness, if I could do that for God, whew, that would be it. But I just can't. I just don't have that gift. See how we compare ourselves? With others instead of with God. And so we end up isolating ourselves. After we believe those lies for long enough, we end up feeling like people don't love us. They don't care about us. God must not really care about me either. I know His Word says He loves me, but how does that play out in my life? I got a picture here that I want to show of what happens when we do that. It's just a little visual of something that I want you to look at because it is so real. When we take our hurts and we bind them up, we don't give them to God, we end up putting ourselves in a little shell, if you will. Try to protect ourselves so that people can't hurt us anymore. Because we're still harboring that hurt that people have inflicted on us. We're still holding on to it. We're still claiming it. We haven't given it to God. And somebody else says something hurtful or does something hurtful to us, and we bottle that up too. And somebody else does something, and we bottle that up too. We claim it. And we start thinking that that's who we are. And we put up a wall around us, if you will. It's an invisible wall. But we keep our distance from people because people hurt us. We don't want them to get too close to us. We lock our heart up, or we don't dare get too close. Because we've got experience of what happens when we get close. We try to protect ourselves instead of running to the protection of Jesus Christ. And so we end up in this bubble, if you will, so that people don't hurt us. And we seem to be all alone. We think that nobody cares about us. Not because people don't care about us, it's because we block all that out. So we can't see it, we can't feel it. If we block out hurt like that, there's something else that's blocked too, as you can see there. It also blocks love. We're not able to receive love from other people. We're not even able to receive God's love because we've blocked ourselves off. We've barricaded all the way around us so that people cannot hurt us. And so we end up all alone. We can be in a room with 1,000 people and we feel all alone. Why is it? Because we have built up a wall around us to isolate us from people so they don't hurt us anymore. And so we end up blocking love from going in or coming out. And in that little bubble of all aloneness, we feel afraid. We're scared because we're alone. We feel all alone. We can't feel God's love. We can't feel people's love. We can't receive the love that people want to give us. We can't receive the love that God so desperately wants to show us because we barricaded it off. We blocked it off. Because we've chosen to own what people said about us. We've chosen to believe the lies of Satan instead of what God just told us here. The same thing sometimes happens for us. As Christians, we make decisions to, even though nobody else is really doing that, what God says, when God tells you to step off that cliff, when you do, of what people say to you, what people perceive you as. I cannot tell you all the things that I've been told in my life because I chose to be obedient to God. There's too many things. The very hurt of my own father disowning me, excommunicating me, and the whole church throwing us out until the day we die because we chose to follow Jesus. I could still be carrying that hurt. And I tell you, that hurt was horrible. It was horrible. I can tell you that scar is still there, but it doesn't hurt anymore. You know what it's replaced with? A love for the ones that gave that hurt to me. He not only healed that wound, but he filled that place up with a love that I could not imagine, to where I can honestly say today, just like Jesus said when he was hanging on that cross, he said, Father, forgive them because they do not understand what they're doing. I know they don't understand. But all those hurts, what I'm wanting to say, we can be hurt by us being obedient to God too. Because people that are not obedient to God look at us, and if they're not really interested in going there, they start pointing fingers or saying, that's senseless. That's senseless. You need to pray about that. God wouldn't tell you to do that. After I knew God well, and God called us to go to Nicaragua, I cannot tell you how many people tried to discourage me from going. Why did they want to discourage somebody from that? God knows. I think there's a mix of things that play in there. I think one of the things can be because they love us and they don't want us to get hurt. It looks like a dangerous place. But there's a lack of faith. If God's the one calling, 1 John chapter 4, verse 18 talks about that. He says, there is no fear in love. Why should I be afraid? But perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment, and one who fears is not made perfect in love. Once we really get to know God's heart, Satan can say whatever he wants and we won't believe it, because we know that we know. But unless we know that for sure, we're liable to listen to Satan's lies. And to be able to know that for sure, we have to surrender. All those hurts that are there, that we've been hanging on to, that we've made our own. If I say the identity that we have in this world, we have to surrender that to God if we want to know Him like we're talking about. And that's too huge. We can't deal with that. Our identity. What does that mean? But we break it down to individual things that happen to us that we're still hanging on to. That we may not even know are there. But we've dealt with it so long. We've blocked it off. We don't think about it. Because if we think about it, it hurts too much. So we just don't deal with it. But you know what? That section of your heart is not available for God's love to fill it up. Because we still got our own junk in there. So we get to choose. We get to choose what we allow Jesus to take from there so that He can fill that piece up with love too. I heard an analogy one time of a pastor, and I really like this. I know I'm getting late here, but he said, you know, us receiving salvation, he said, God saves us and then cleans us up. He doesn't tell us, go clean up and then come back and then I'll save you. He doesn't say that. But He says, come to me. And if we're really willing to surrender, repent and surrender to Him, He's willing to save us, to put His Spirit in our heart. And his pastor said it this way, and I loved it, because it's such a visual to me. He said, at that point, you look at this big hotel out there, it's many stories high. It's got hundreds of rooms. When that Spirit of God goes in there, the office lights up. But then, that building there, all the rooms have got windows, but it's still dark. At that point, we choose to surrender to God. As we surrender anger to Him, He opens that door, cleans that room out, puts His light in there. Now we have a light in the office and in another room. And then He goes to the next room and He knocks on the door. We choose whether we open that door to Him or not. But I'm telling you tonight, I want my hotel to be all lit up. Every window to have a light. I don't want one dark spot to remain there. Because if my heart has got a dark spot in it, that's an area where Jesus Christ cannot shine through. And I want Him to be able to shine through me all the way. Where when people look at me, they don't see me, but they see Jesus. That's my desire. And I know if I keep some of those rooms locked up and in darkness, what people will see will really not look like Jesus. It'll look like me. And I believe Jesus wants to free us from all those things. I really do. I really feel like He's wanting to do a work. I know that in this area, like I said last couple of nights, I'm so encouraged to see how God's Spirit is working here. How He's drawn men to Himself and humbled them to the point where they're willing to surrender their life to Him and step up and be a spiritual leader in their home. Where He's drawn women to Himself, where they humble themselves to step up and be the woman that God created her to be. I love that. I'm seeing some of that happen here. And I'm convinced He wants to do more of that. But you know what? It's in our hands. So tonight, I want to take and I'm going to ask you guys, whoever's willing, to bow their heart before Jesus tonight. Because I know that when we examine our own hearts, we can miss things. There's some things that we're partial to that we'll just overlook. And we may not even know it's there. Like I said earlier, we may have had it there so long that we don't even know it's there. But if we allow the Holy Spirit to come into our heart and examine our heart, He will show us what's there. If there's any room that's still dark, He's going to knock on that door so that we know there's still something there.